All right, so let's talk about the new cryptocurrency kid on the block, Solana. Everyone's talking about it. Now, fun fact, Bitcoin uses something called proof of work, Ethereum uses something called proof of stake, and Solana uses something called proof of time. So let's time travel to the future where I've done my research for this video, and let's learn more about it. I got so many requests to make a video about Solana, and I told myself, Andre, whatever you do, do not make another new crypto coin video. People are overwhelmed, but I need the views, so here we are. Earlier this year, I went to the Bitcoin conference in Miami, and I was hanging out with a guy by the name of Chris Fior, who's from BlockFi, and he told me about a small little project by the name of Solana. And he's like, it's really interesting, look into it, Andre. I never did. Mind you, this was in June when Solana was trading at roughly $37 a coin. Fast forward to today, and it's trading over $160. So in today's video, I want to go over Solana and give you a surface overview of what it is, how it works, why it's going to the moon, and why people are so excited about it. So let's begin. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the card tricks, not the sponsors. I'm just kidding. No card tricks today. But really cool news. The CEO of AMC just said he would allow people to use Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash to buy movie tickets and overpriced hot dogs, which is awesome. Also, here's my disclosure to you. I do not own any Solana in my portfolio. I don't know why I did this. Maybe because it looks like the sun, Solana? I don't know. But I might own some by the end of this video, so stick around. Also, I was not paid to make this video, and I'm not trying to make this video to convince you to buy into Solana. I'm only making this video so that we can both learn about what this is and how it works. So I'll do my best to show you exactly that, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end of this video. But before we can get into what is Solana, we have to understand why is Solana? Because why do we need another crypto coin when there's like a billion of them out there already? And here's why. Most cryptos are trying to solve the scalability problem, right? How do we get billions of people around the world to use this technology in a way that's easy to use, free, cheap, decentralized, secure, all that good stuff, right? Because most cryptos work incredibly well when there's like 10 people using them. But if we use one specific blockchain, like Ethereum, for example, we start to really see the limitations of that technology. And this is called the Blockchain Trilemma. All right, so imagine you have three options to pick from: scalability, decentralization, and security. Now, in a perfect world, you'd live in a harmony of all three working together as a balanced breakfast. But you used up all your EXP and you only have two. Always go for smithing and alchemy, just saying. When a crypto coin becomes popular and lots of people start to use it, transaction times start to slow down, it becomes more expensive to use, or it becomes more centralized. And we start to see that it's a game of give and take. What do you give up and what do you take in return? In Bitcoin's case, it is incredibly secure, it is incredibly decentralized, but it's not scalable. So how do we solve that problem? One of the ways to be all three is, number one, to create a private blockchain. And companies do this all the time as a marketing tool, and it's the funniest thing in the world because they have no idea why blockchains exist. Blockchains exist to make networks decentralized, and they do this by creating a complex Rube Goldberg machine that allows them to decentralize it. But if you own said blockchain, all you're doing is you're making it hard for yourself to do anything, to just press a button. And you can do this easily, as you do anyway, with a private database. And that's why private corporations will never be able to recreate their own Bitcoin or Ethereum. It just won't work. Another way to be all three is to go somewhere else, to a different blockchain with less people in it. And people do this all the time, and this is the phase of the internet that's kind of my favorite. This is where people are like, yes, my project's gonna win, my coin's the best, look how fast and cheap and easy it is to use, until it gains traction, more people join, and the project breaks. Then there's a third way. The third way is to scale off-chain. This is how Bitcoin is trying to do it. This is how Ethereum is trying to do it. And if we look at layer one, that would be the blockchain itself. That would be considered the settlement layer. This is where we finalize our transactions and our money. And then we create a second layer on top of that, which is a separate technology where we transact. That is the transactional layer. Kind of like, if you remember, we used to exchange pieces of paper, that was layer 2, and then we would settle this on layer 1, which was gold. I don't remember either, this was before my time, but things were like that. There's also a fourth way, and that is to scale the blockchain itself. Enter Solana. Solana does all the things you'd expect a cryptocurrency to do at this point, which is to be a currency that is fast and cheap and allows for smart contracts like Ethereum. So here are some numbers, by the way, that people are really excited about. Now, just for context, just so you know, Bitcoin is capable of roughly 7 transactions per second on the settlement layer. That's on the blockchain. Ethereum is capable of roughly 30 transactions per second. Solana right now is doing 1,892 transactions per second live on the blockchain as of today, which means a lot of people are actually using it. It's not just something people are holding on to and speculating. And utility is very closely tied to price. Now, it's also very cheap to use. Each transaction on Solana costs 0.00025 cents. So it's a fraction of a dollar. Now, just for context, Ethereum costs roughly $3.20 per transaction as of yesterday, which means it's exponentially cheaper to use. Solana claims it can handle up to 50,000 transactions per second, which in comparison to Ethereum 2.0's is only 2,000 to 3,000 transactions per second with smart contracts. Although Ethereum can handle up to 100,000 with sharding, but I'm not going to get into that because that's a funny word and I'm 12. Sharding. So the question becomes, what did Solana have to give up in order to get as good as it has as far as being fast and cheap and reliable, right? Because everything's a game of give and take. Before I can answer that question, I just want to give you a quick refresher. Remember the whole consensus model that I talked about? The model of how we consensus or agree to keep a network safe? Remember, Bitcoin uses proof of work, where computers around the world contribute their power to keep the network safe and decentralized. Ethereum uses proof of stake, where you have to have money staked, and that gives you more incentive to be honest with validating transactions, because if you're dishonest, you lose value in the money you've staked. That is proof of stake. And then there's, with Solana, something called proof of time. So let's fast forward in time a little bit after I've done a little bit more research. So Solana is not like Bitcoin. You can't mine Solana out from the blockchain. You have to buy it. So let's talk price. Why does it go up in value? We know why Bitcoin goes up, because it's rare, more people want to buy it, they hold on to it, demand goes up, value goes up as well. We know why Ethereum goes up in price, because it's like fuel of the internet for all the dApps, the decentralized apps, the exchanges and everything else, and people stake their money into smart contracts. As we have less fuel available with more demand, the value goes up. Why does Solana go up in value? Same principle as Ethereum, it's fuel of the decentralized future, but it's also positioned itself to be the fuel of the financial markets. And by that I mean the New York Stock Exchange. Since Solana's transactions get confirmed insanely fast and it's cheap, it's positioned itself just right to go after the financial markets. And they're starting to do that because Circle, one of the internet's biggest payment systems, has partnered with Solana's team to bring them USDC, the stablecoin, to their blockchain. And so things are starting to get integrated. So the thinking is, if the NFT space, the apps, the decentralized exchanges, and all of these applications continue to get bigger, so should Solana's demand and presence, especially if they go after the financial markets. That's the marketing pitch. Believe it or not, in the not too distant future, we're gonna put everything on the blockchain. Your phone, your Pokemon cards, your identity, and even the stock market. It's gonna get crazy. So now let me explain exactly how this works like you're 5, because that's how I need to hear this stuff. It gets so complicated. And then I'll show you some of the downsides and the risks and give you my thoughts. Imagine this card trick right here. I take the deck and I flick a card in my other hand. Now, if I was to show you that same sequence of events randomized in a series of stills, you should be able to put these together in a way that makes sense, because you can see the card starts in my deck, it gets flung into the air and caught in my other hand. You can see it has a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. And this is because each event has its own little unique timestamp attached to it. And that is proof of history, or proof of time as I like to call it, explained like I'm 5. And that's not even the coolest part. The coolest part is that Solana rotates these validating leaders. So for example, if I own 10% of Solana as a validating node, I know I'll be the leader 10% of the time, but I won't know which 10% of the time. So I won't know which part of the sequence I'll be arranging. You can actually see this in real time at solanabeach.io. You see how the leaders are always changing? It's super cool. This means they can't come together and do something nefarious. No Russian collusion, always good. So that's the extent of how deep I'll go into the tech. There's way more to it, but I'll put everyone to sleep, and because it's way beyond my understanding, because I'm not that smart. But more importantly, I want to talk about the price risk. If I'm going to invest in something like this, I want to know what are the downsides and what am I going up against. Because the thing about people outside of crypto, they just don't care about these nerdy things like decentralization. All they care about is how fast and how cheap it is. And Solana is that. But everything in the game of crypto is a game of give and take. So here are the risks. I'm gonna stay away from the technobabble and the mumbo jumbo and give you a macro perspective risk like I see it. The biggest risk is that if we get a multi-year bear market or crypto winter. And I saw this happen in 2017 when there was a ton of really cool tech out there, investors piled millions of dollars, the beer was flowing like wine, everyone was happy, and when the market crashed, the investors pulled out. People forgot about the coins because they couldn't deliver on the promises they had made. And what happens when markets crash is developers leave and go where there's money, stability, and development. And that's usually been within Ethereum and Bitcoin. You just can't get away from that. That's a huge risk to consider. But another one is that because Solana is easy to use and very cheap as a currency, it opens itself up to an attack vector. And that just recently happened. Solana had an outage because somebody used its strength against it. Because it's so cheap to use, somebody sent out hundreds of thousands of transactions which spam attacked the network, clogged it up, and used up all its resources. Now thankfully, the validators coordinated together to restart the network, but that could suggest that maybe it's very cheap to attack Solana and maybe it's not as decentralized as people think. Now I'm not saying it's centralized, but I am saying that there is a really cool article that you have to check out because there's something called the Nakamoto Coefficient, which measures decentralization, where you can read it for yourself. It's very nerdy and very mathematical, but by that research, it actually shows Solana is more decentralized than Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's very interesting, definitely check it out. But in the meantime, let me just give you my personal thoughts. Not me, not the creators, not even the smartest people in this industry have any idea where we're going in the future. Even if we say to ourselves, putting things on the blockchain is going to be the next hot thing. We have no idea if that's what ordinary people will want to eventually do someday, or if we're just creating solutions to problems that don't really exist. Trust me, there's a lot of that in crypto. But like I said before, your second best idea will never be as good as your first. And my first bet in crypto has always been Bitcoin and Ethereum, about 60-40. But having said that, I do think that this is interesting enough for me to speculate my money into, because I think this is a very promising project. I think Solana has the potential and the foundation to evolve into something truly special if that's what the world needs it to be. If we do in fact want to put things on the blockchain, if we want to tokenize stocks and other things efficiently, and then I think the technology is finally here, but time will tell if that's what the world really wants and needs now, later, or never at all. And because I've been around since before 2017 and I've seen these technologies rise and fall, I do think it's important to set our expectations at a realistic level, but I do think the world is big enough to have both Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, all of these crypto coins for different purposes, but like I said before, time will tell. In the meantime, don't forget to have a great rest of your day. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Go get up to $250 worth of free Bitcoin at this BlockFi link right here. Go get your 2 free stonks with Webull, links down below. Track them automatically with the spreadsheet link down below in my Patreon. Love you, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you back here on Monday and Friday, sometimes a Wednesday. I'm sorry for making another crypto coin video, but people asked, so I made it. In the meantime, I'm gonna go to Life is Beautiful, which is a music festival here in Vegas. I'm super excited to see Bobby Eyelash. It'll be awesome. I'll see you soon.